Okay, well, good morning, everybody. For those who I have not had the honor of meeting yet, my name is Patrick Boyle. I'm the Executive Director of IgniteLI. IgniteLI is the manufacturing trade association for all products made here on Long Island. I get to represent Long Island's manufacturers up in Albany, down in DC, as well as in the Suffolk County Legislature, Nassau County Legislature, and with all of our local towns and villages. So I just want to start off by thanking those elected officials that are here right now. We have Angie Carpenter, supervisor of the town of Islip. I don't know if we have Steve Flotterin, Suffolk County Legislature, and Leslie Kennedy. They both were registered. I haven't seen them yet, but I just want to thank our elected officials for really caring about manufacturing here on Long Island and promoting the local jobs and the economy and the people that work in these manufacturing jobs. So I also want to start off by thanking our sponsors. We have Burden LLC, Industrial Coverage, Citron Cooperman, Dale Carnegie, Grassi, Insperity, Margolin, Weiner and Evans, Wells Fargo, Summit Safety and Efficiency. That's Ron Loveland. I want to thank Ron for being such a really wonderful partner in manufacturing. Ron runs the HIA's Manufacturing Committee. Thank you, Ron. And of course, Blue Tiger International, Tom Cook. Want to also, I'm going to take a moment to admit a couple more people jumping in here. Okay, wonderful. Oh, a couple more. Also want to thank our board members. I think we have Jordan Finkelstein, who is in the meeting right now. He runs Exergy. Ann Shabunko-Moore from GSE Dynamics. Emma Lee from ANZ Pharmaceutical. She is represented by Jody Shaffron Kaplan. Phil Caniglio at Hofstra. Phil runs part of the engineering department, and he is a really great partner with us and education. We have Anthony Acquampora from Silverman Acquampora. Michael D'Addario from D'Addario Guitar Strings, who makes 70% of the world's guitar strings right in East Farmingdale here on Long Island, which is something I always talk about. I think it's really cool that we get to talk about how we are the world hub of guitar string manufacturing. And then, of course, Mitchell Reckler from Reckler Equity Partners, who is represented by Ellen Sia. Okay, just going to check and make sure we don't have anyone else to admit into the meeting. Cool. So our agenda should be pretty quick today. We're going to start off with a presentation by ThINC at Stony Brook Laboratory, and that will be presented by Dr. Shruti Sharma, who is the program manager there. Shruti, are you unmuted?
Hello, everyone.
Okay. ThINC is oh boy, Shruti, I'm gonna butcher this, but please correct me when I mess up the pronunciations here. ThINC is the Thermomechanical and Imaging Nanoscale Characterization at Stony Brook University. ThINC is the core facility of the Advanced Energy Research and Technology Center. It is dedicated to establishing partnerships between Stony Brook University and industrial laboratories for enabling cutting-edge energy research and renewal. And with that, Dr. Sharma.
Thank you, Patrick. You did very well.
Thank you very much. I practiced.
Let me just share my screen and then we'll be off. Patrick, I don't have the ability to screen share.
Okay, let me. Okay, you should be able to now.
Let's see. Can everybody see that? Can you guys see it?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Thank you. So thank you, Patrick, for the nice introduction. As he mentioned, my name is Dr. Shruti Sharma. I'm the program manager at the Thermomechanical and Imaging Nanoscale Characterization, or as we call it, ThINC user facility at the Advanced Energy Center at Stony Brook University. This is a core testing and validation facility that we have, and we serve different sectors as I'll talk along now. So the different facilities that we have include multi-scale imaging, sample preparation for those imaging equipments, thermal and mechanical analysis, as well as acting as a bridge to collaboration with different labs. So if we are not able to have the instruments at our facility, we work with you to find out what is the best way to move forward, and which are the companies or which are the labs that we should be partnering with to provide a full-scale facility to the users that we have. And the sectors that we serve include pharmaceutical, nutraceuticals, life sciences, medical devices, and materials design. So within these four, I'll give you examples in the upcoming slides of the work that we have done for, as an example, for some of the pharma-related or applicable examples. We have electron microscopy in the multi-scale imaging, both scanning electron microscopy and transmission electron microscopy. We also have confocal, which can be used for live cell imaging and staining different types of cells and creating a good picture of the materials that you have, as well as atomic force microscopy, which can be used for imaging the top surface, as well as getting some mechanical information at a small scale. And to support these microscopy related work, we also offer sample preparation. And we have a whole suite of sample preparation tools, including freeze dryer and freeze plunger. And both our SEM and TEM have cryo imaging capabilities, so we can freeze the samples, and they're very applicable to life science and pharmaceutical work. As I mentioned, we also have a suite of thermal and mechanical characterization, DMA, TGAs, and I'll talk about them in a bit. In terms of the collaboration, right now, we have active collaboration going on with the Center for Functional Nanomaterial at Brookhaven National Lab, as well as the Magnetic Resonance Imaging Center at Columbia University. And both of these collaborations were started based on the feedback that we got from our users, that there were some things that they wanted to do, and they were, we did not have the instrumentation to support that, but we were able to establish the collaborations and do work for our users at other locations. So at our facility, you can see, analyze, and identify your samples. So for example, here, these are gold nanoparticles that we imaged for one of our users. They were able to actually figure out the particle size distribution for these particles, how big these were. So for example, if there are drug particles that you have, drugs encapsulated in polymers, you can do the imaging, then get the particle size distribution, and we can also do the identification of the elements present. So in this case, the right-hand side image was telling that it was gold. We can also study temperature effects and mechanical strength. And as I mentioned, the rightmost image shows that we can prepare the tissue samples with tissue fixation, embedding, staining, and create thin slices using the microtome, and then perform the TEM on them, transmission electron microscopy. Some unique characteristics that we have in our electron microscopes is that we can do really low temperature cryo imaging. So on the left-hand side of the screen, you see this image of a snow crystal. So there was no damage because of the high intensity of the beam, electron beam that we were using. We were able to image it perfectly without, and all the features were preserved. So this is something unique about our instrumentation, that we can image non-conducting samples because we have variable pressure mode and still get very high quality imaging. And we can use low accelerating voltages. And then on the right-hand side, I show you an image of a dental pulp stem cell that was created. The sample was prepared by using focused ion beam. So you can actually imagine like a laser cutting out some material of your sample. and then you can image the section that was created. And we can do this at low magnification, and then we can look at it at high magnification to see all the features of the sample very clearly. And then this similar technique can be actually used to create TEM samples. So SEM may not be always the way to go. We can actually create TEM samples, take them out using this SEM machine, and then take them to the transmission electron microscope and image it. So this is another unique capability that we have. Here I show you some more examples. So on the right hand side, we have drug particles that we imaged. Usually the transmission electron microscopes, they'll work in a range of either very high magnification and cannot create good images, or they cannot capture good images at lower magnification, but we can do that. So the drug particles image on the left-hand side are actually 2 microns, and the right-hand side are in the nanometer scale. And the magnification scale is like 2,500 times to 25,000 times. So we have a very broad range in which we can image the materials. And then left-hand side is actually a virus image that was acquired by cryo imaging at our facility. So as I mentioned, both in SEM and in TEM, we can do frozen samples at cryo temperatures. We also have a confocal microscope, as I mentioned, so we can stain different cells by different dyes, and we also have a capability to slice them up in terms of the height, and that size is also very small, so we can get very detailed pictures of the sample in 3 dimensions using the confocal microscope, and help you study live cells as well. So this is a static image, but we can create a time lapse, and you can see cells moving and how they are interacting with each other through this process. To the atomic force microscope, you can, as I mentioned previously, study the topography. So study the top surface. I always define atomic force microscopy like a Braille sign. So like somebody will touch and read Braille. Atomic force microscope works the same way, and you can touch your sample surface and the tip moves up and down and creates an image. And we can again do thin slices and create a 3D reconstruction to give you a full picture of your materials. One of the other things that I wanted to really emphasize is that it's not just what we have in our facility, but what we can get you through our collaborations at other facilities as well. So as I mentioned, Center for Functional Nanomaterial at Brookhaven National Lab. We have a collaboration with them. You can do proprietary as well as non-proprietary research there. And then we can help you with navigating the whole process. So they have a proposal system in which you have to apply, write a proposal, apply to get the time on their instrumentation, and then perform the experiments yourself. Not everybody has the capability to do that. ThINC can act as a bridge. So we can be the ones writing the proposal for you. We can be the ones performing the instrumentation for experiments for you. And these are some examples of the instruments that they have. The other collaboration that we have is with Columbia Magnetic Resonance Imaging Center. So this was a user that came to us. They wanted to study something, but they were not sure what was the best way to go about it. So we helped them in figuring out what kind of experiments they should be doing, and then starting the collaboration with Columbia, designing the experiments and actually conducting the experiment as well as data analysis for them. So these are just 2 examples. Just if you have a problem, come to us, give us a call, and we can talk about how we can best help you. This is the team here. We have Dr. Simon Chang, who's the project director. He has been with ThINC from the very beginning, very well equipped with handling all the instrumentation that we have, as well as other characterization instruments outside. Dr. Yuanshu is our staff scientist. She and Dr. Simon are the ones who do day-to-day operations in terms of doing the experiments and collecting the data for the users. And I am the program manager, and I work with for the business development aspect. So with that, I would like to thank everybody for their attention. Come work with us. very easy to work with us. You just need to either give us a call or shoot us an email. And then it's a very simple form. You can start working tomorrow if you have something with us. We have the website where you can find the information more on the instrumentation, and you can follow us on social media as well. So thank you.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for presenting, and thank you for being here with us. And thank you for doing the work here and supporting Long Island's manufacturing technology and companies here. Just wanted to remind everyone, if you have any questions, please submit them to the chat. I'd be happy to read them aloud for everyone at the end. If no one has any other questions for Dr. Sharma, I'm going to let her get back to her very important work, and thank her again for being here and supporting us. Wonderful. Okay, so next I'm going to ask that Mr. Brad takes himself off mute. There you are. Okay, cool. Now, Brad rolled out today with the entire team at the town of Islip with him. So he is the most supportive person I've ever seen. Brad runs the Islip Foreign Trade Zone. Let me just get my notes here. He's going to tell us a little bit about some cost savings in import-export opportunities at the town of Islip. The Foreign Trade Zone is a designated location in the United States at or near U.S. Customs Port, eventually where foreign and domestic products are generally considered to be international commerce, which gives us an opportunity for some savings. Brad's going to give us the full brief and talk to us about how that works.
Absolutely. Thank you, Patrick. I was listening to Shrudi's presentation and kind of racking my brain, trying to figure out how it is that we might work together. I suspect it would be with her users and teams that she works with as this gets delivered to the private sector, to work with some of the pharmaceutical companies to see if there's some applications. But very interesting presentation. Thank you for putting that together.
Thank you, Brad.
So as Patrick mentioned, my name's Brad Hemingway. I'm the Executive Director here at the Town of Islip Foreign Trade Zone Authority. My role primarily is to market the real estate that's available here, both developed and undeveloped. As some of you may know, we have a number of undeveloped parcels, and my role over the last couple of years has been to kind of advertise that to the various manufacturing sectors to see if there have been some fits for the Foreign Trade Zone. So we're getting close. We've been working with a number of companies, and I hope to, in the coming months, be reporting some new action here on the Foreign Trade Zone. Outside of marketing the real estate, very important that I promote this Foreign Trade Zone program. We have a wonderful relationship with Suffolk County. It's actually Suffolk County that chartered this program back in the early 80s. And at the time, they didn't have a physical location. They had this concept and wonderful program for the import-export community, but they needed a physical location. So at the time, the supervisor of the town of Islip and the county executive were able to identify this tract of land here, which is a 52-acre parcel. And at that time, it was designated as a foreign trade zone. And really what it is, it's the physical location for the Foreign Trade Zone program in Suffolk County. The way that we're set up is it's a plug and play type situation, in that as companies move into the Foreign Trade Zone physically, this magnet site, they're able to take advantage of the tenets of the program. It's very important for me to mention that being in this trade zone or this magnet site is not necessary to participate in the program. There are off-site applications that are available through the county. And if anybody would like to reach out to me or the county, I can give you some guidance on how to best affect that. I've been working with Ignite for a number of years. Patrick and I have been speaking the last couple of months about all the wonderful things they have going on throughout the manufacturing community. We've got aerospace and defense, we've got pharmaceuticals, we've got a number of different plays that are happening here at Ignite. And it's very exciting because we as the Foreign Trade Zone have the ability to work with each of those manufacturing sectors. There are certain applications that you could find within each of those sectors that would be perfect fits for taking property or utilizing the benefits here at the Foreign Trade Zone. So I wanted to quickly run through what some of those benefits are. I do see a lot of familiar faces out there. So for those that have come back, I pardon me for the repetition. The biggest tenets of the Foreign Trade Zone program is really the tariff treatment. There's 3 different types of treatment for tariff. And when you're doing business out of a foreign trade zone, it's almost like you're in a designated area unto itself. It's almost like it's out of the United States. It's not considered United States territory. And as a result, you're able to get this favorable tariff treatment. The way that I've always looked at it is for those that have traveled abroad, you go through the airport, you go through duty-free shopping as an individual. It's really very similar. It's an application on a commercial basis. And they've been able to kind of transfer this to the commercial side. And it's been a very successful program that's led to some significant savings for many companies that are involved in import-export. So when you're doing business out of a foreign trade zone, there's 3 different types of tariff treatment that you can take advantage of. And that's really going to be dictated by the end origin of where your product is going to be shipped to. So for companies that are bringing in components, products, ingredients, I'll say ingredients for the pharmaceutical community, for those that are bringing in those ingredients from abroad, you bring them into the foreign trade zone free of tariff, okay, free of duty. You don't pay anything on it. It's not until it leaves the foreign trade zone that that tariff or duty is determined. When you're distributing your products domestically, you're able to defer or postpone that tariff until, again, it leaves the foreign trade zone location. That's a very valuable benefit for companies that might have longer shelf lives for some of their products or components or whatever it is that they're distributing or making or manufacturing. Lets them kind of reallocate that working capital to other areas of the company. So it's a very effective tool to kind of keep money in the pocket. The next tariff treatment is duty elimination or exemption. Now, this is going to happen when a company is bringing in their goods, products, ingredients from overseas, and they're shipping back out. They might be bringing in something from China and then shipping it to Canada, Mexico, or wherever it may be going. In that instance, when it's a re-export, the duty is completely eliminated, down to 0. Can be tremendous savings. We actually have a user here in the foreign trade zone. Believe it or not, they're a liquor distributor. And they save a significant amount of money each year because their end customer are all the airlines. And because the liquor and spirits is going from the foreign trade zone to the international skies, the duty is completely eliminated. And as you can imagine, these spirits, wines, things like that, liquors, they come from all over the world, and some of them can be significant duty. So the ability to eliminate that is huge for some companies. The third tariff treatment, which I think is kind of appropriate for this group, and I'll do my best to make an example to the pharmaceutical community, would be that inverted tariff treatment. Inverted tariff treatment is specifically targeted at manufacturers that are doing assembly, right? They may be bringing in components, or again, for the pharmaceutical companies, maybe they're bringing in ingredients from China or India, and they're bringing in that ingredients to make a final product or finished product. Let's say ibuprofen, to keep it simple. Well, all those different ingredients that go into ibuprofen may come from abroad, and every time they come into the country, they have their own respective duty or tariff. Okay, when that ingredient goes into what they call that finished product, the ibuprofen, the manufacturer has the ability to break it out, tear out both of those components or items or ingredients, and look at the tariff side by side to determine which one is lower. So say my ingredient for my ibuprofen runs at a 9% tariff, but when I distribute my ibuprofen, that actually runs at a 0 tariff. All of that ingredient that goes into the finished product that usually runs at 9% is now applied at 0%. So the lower tariff is able to prevail on the finished product. Very important. And Patrick, I know I sent you some stuff. I'd be happy to get further into that inverted tariff treatment so that some of your companies can better understand how they may utilize that benefit. Just a couple of other things that really make it a benefit to do business out of the foreign trade zone, I would say, is expedited delivery. Because whatever you're bringing in a container that comes into the port at customs, because it's destined for a foreign trade zone, there's kind of a manifest that gets submitted prior to arrival in the port. This makes things much more efficient in that the customs knows what's in that container. It is more or less pre-cleared in that it flies right through the port because it's coming out to a foreign trade zone in which Customs and Border Patrol has the right to inspect. So they can do an after receipt inspection, as opposed to holding something up at the port and doing an inspection on the container. This significantly helps lead times and can make for a much more efficient delivery for some of the companies that are doing business out of the foreign trade. The last thing that I guess I would talk about, when you're doing business out of a foreign trade zone and you receive goods from overseas, a container or however it may come, you are required to pay a filing fee once that arrives at port. Because you're doing business out of a foreign trade zone, you are allowed to consolidate these filing fees. Now, every time you file for receipt of a good, you're going to pay a port fee of up to $485 every time something comes in. So say you have 20 containers coming in, depending on what type of volume you do as a business. If you were to have 20 containers coming in, you would do 20 separate filings. When you're doing business out of a foreign trade zone, you now have the ability to consolidate all of those filings within a weekly period and pay one term. So you can look at that 485 times 20 and eliminate that down to one time. So it would be, let's call it close to $10,000 for that first run of 20, where you would be paying $485 one time. You do that every week, that adds up to some significant savings over the course of a year. And again, one of the biggest things that I've seen companies all over the country take advantage of, particularly high volume receivers of goods from overseas. Those are really the underlying benefits. I really kind of just throw this all out there as things to kind of pique your ear or interest. I know there's a lot of people on this call. If there's someone out there that's doing import and export, I certainly suggest coming into this office, sitting down with us, seeing if we can take a deeper dive and if there's any applications for you. If not with us, of course, you can do that with Suffolk County, but really working with people like Patrick, we're really just trying to get the news out there that this program exists and make sure that the import-export community here on Long Island is taking advantage of it. So unless there's any questions, that's as much as I've got right now. I'm happy to answer anything or speak with anybody individually.
I didn't see any questions come in, but I do just want to ask, so how would somebody get in touch with you in your office?
Phone number is 631-588-5757. And my email is bhemingway, B as in boy, Hemingway, only one M, at islipny.gov.
Wonderful. Great.
Or just call Patrick and he knows how to get me.
That's fine too. Cool. Well, Brad, I just again want to thank you very much for your support of Long Island's manufacturing companies and our community here. Thank you for doing what you're doing and keep up the great work. We love to see we love to see the foreign trade zone thrive. Okay, so before we jump to our next guest, I just want to acknowledge the IDA crew that are here. John Wassler from Islip IDA, Jim Tulo from Brookhaven IDA. I just saw Harry Coughlin jump on from Nassau County IDA. If you're not familiar with this team, the IDAs on Long Island really paint a great image of what it is to collaborate across towns, across counties, and work together for the better of Long Island, and really what they have to offer for manufacturers and really for any businesses out there is wonderful. And it's really the picture of government supporting local and small business. So I want to thank that team for being here very much. Also want to thank legislator Steve Flauder and jumped on. Hey Steve, how are you? And then finally, I want to thank John Lombardo from Suffolk County Community College. John is here. He is a really great partner of ours in education. Across 11 different sectors of manufacturing, we found that there to be one central common denominator issue that we can really sink our teeth into as a trade association, and that is workforce development and workforce retention. And Suffolk County Community College, as well as our other education partners, Hofstra, NYIT is on here as well. They're really doing great things to help our businesses strengthen our talent pipelines. So I want to thank you for doing what you're doing. And then we're going to, with that thought of education in our mind and apprenticeship, I want to bring up Mike Tedisco, who is our partner here at Ignite. Now, you heard from Mike last time in regard to the New York State Registered Apprenticeship Program to have your employees earn while they learn. But Mike wants to talk about some successes that have popped up since our last call, and I thought it was really important that we brief you on what's happening here. So Mike, I'm going to ask that you take yourself off mute and take it away.
Yes, good morning, everyone. I really do appreciate that. And yes, proof of concept always helps. I think is a good way of looking at things. So again, registered apprenticeship programs in the manufacturing industry, very excited. A lot of opportunity, a lot of potential, and a lot of cost savings for you, the employers, when trying to develop and grow your workforce. We can see that, right, Patrick? We good? Again, I won't have that many slides. It's very, it's just, again, a quick update. Try to do this during every call because we're constantly evolving, constantly changing, and I wanted to provide as much information as possible with everyone on the call. So in the pharmaceutical sector, since the last call, 2 Long Island-based companies have committed. One of them actually is now a new member of Ignite, so that's always exciting. And the trades that we are going to be moving forward with these 2 pharmaceutical companies are industrial manufacturing technician, quality assurance auditor, and we are now in the process of creating a compounding technician program. And this will be the first throughout the entire state of New York, so we are going to be the first and only one at the time that will be having a compounding technician apprenticeship program. With that being said, outside of pharmaceutical, Long Island right now has about 17 active apprentices in either industrial manufacturing technician as well as CNC machinist, covering many different sectors, whether it be health and human services, health and beauty products, industrial and aerospace and defense. And then I also want to share with everyone the funding opportunities. In 2020, we were able to get 2 companies, were able to receive through national funding a check for $2,300 for having an active apprentice. Again, just because they had an active apprentice, we were able to get them $2,300 per apprentice in national funding. This year alone, one of those companies will actually also be receiving the AEG2 New York State grant, which stands for the Apprenticeship Expansion Grant. That company will be receiving $9,000 in reimbursements because, again, having an active apprentice. And I just found out actually about a couple weeks ago, there is an actually new grant just for manufacturing companies that have 50 employees or less. They will be getting $5,000 once they have an active apprentice in the apprenticeship program. Again, the idea here is to help grow businesses' workforce, develop from the bottom and within. So if you are interested in finding out how to calculate a cost savings approach, I apologize, I don't know where that slide went. You know, again, please feel free to contact myself or Patrick. There's our numbers and email, and we can set up a time to go over all the specifics in more detail. But again, the apprenticeship program on Long Island is growing and will only go faster with your help and support.
Cool.
That is my apprenticeship update for this week or this meeting.
That was a very good update, Mike. Thank you very much. And I'm really happy to see that this is taking off, especially in the pharmaceutical, nutraceutical field. We know that Pharma and Nutra and Biotech are all quiet giants here on Long Island, especially within the town of Islip and Brookhaven. So I think that this apprenticeship program is really going to go a long way for those smaller companies and the medium-sized and larger companies that are looking to grow their workforce here. I just want to also acknowledge a couple other folks that jumped on that are really great partners of Ignite. Dr. Imam Cow and Cynthia Colon at MTRC. Thank you very much for everything that you guys do for Long Island's manufacturing community and for really being great partners with Ignite. Thank you very much. So my last point here, and then I'm going to cut the meeting, is we want to announce that we're creating an executive board for this council, for the Pharmaceutical, Nutraceutical, Bioscience, Biotech Council. I'm creating a executive board from industry. So we're looking for CEOs, presidents, executive level folks to join this board. We're looking for between 5 and 10 individuals to join this board and to really guide this committee and help us move in the direction and give us the industry insight that we need to ensure that this is valuable and that we're doing the things that we need to do to remain globally competitive, really, which is the premise of this conference. Is this was brought up out of a WDI report that we heard about last month, or really last meeting, that calls for us to have a regional trade association led by industry to strengthen Long Island's manufacturing in pharmaceutical, nutraceutical. We have other groups across the globe that have federally run trade associations. We don't. This is it. This is us. So we need our executives and our managers to step up and join this board to help us run this thing as best we can. So with that, I'm going to conclude our agenda. Thank you for your time. Just want to also thank again our sponsors. We have Burden Industrial Coverage, Citron Cooperman, Dale Carnegie, Grassy, Insperity, Margolin, Weiner and Evans, Wells Fargo, Summit Safety, and Blue Tiger International. And of course, our board members as well. I know that we have Jody here and Jordan is on with us as well. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you for your time. Please, any feedback you have, let me know how we can build this thing better and how we can move forward. Thank you again. Angie Carpenter is still here. Thank you, Supervisor, very much for still being here, and the whole team of the town of Islip. Thanks again, everybody. Have a great day.
Thank you, Patrick.
Thank you.
Take care, Patrick.
Thank you.
You
Angie.
all be safe.
Be well.
Thank you, Patrick.